Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
What am I doing here? What's going on, Ian? What? What is this?
It is the same circle of hell we've occupied all year, man. We have questions to answer.
What? Okay, if you insist.
It's inescapable. It is our lot in life now.
I don't remember this at all.
It is our great Sisyphean Bumble boulder that we shall push uphill every day, and it will roll back down covered in more questions. I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this analogy, but so these questions come from our lovely patrons and sponsors over patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
I've just been handed this slightly damp and crumpled up piece of paper by Ian, and I'm opening it up, and there's a bunch of questions written on it. So I guess, am I supposed to read these or what?
Yes, please.
Oh, all right. Well, if you insist. This one is from Alphamon or Yukon. Aside from gold, we never got to see the Onyx City Council without their masks. Just who were they? What was their end goal? What did they want with the Genesis portals?
That was all the brainchild of Evan Stanley. So those questions should all go to her.
Yeah, that was her story. Did you have any input on that at all or anything?
Not really, no.
Mm.
I mean, I kind of weighed in it early on, but then I felt like I was kind of stepping on the editor's toes. It's like, it's not my story. I'm not writing it for Evan. I'm not the editor. I'm not going to tell Paul what to do. So why am I even contributing? I'm just gonna step out. This is not my rodeo.
Let the person do the writing. You don't have to be in control.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you always wrote Sonic for the longest time, so I can understand why it would be kind of weird to have to be like, okay, I'll step back and let someone else write. And it's like, well, wait, hold on. I've been writing for so long. I get it.
Had the opportunity arisen to go back to that storyline, and if for whatever reason it had been dropped in my lap, I would have consulted Evan to see what she had intended for it. But that was her baby. That was her side project, her narrative. So that's all her.
Yeah. So go on her Tumblr and ask her the question. Here's this one from Ava Arctic. Some interesting points you mentioned recently were how there were attempts to reboot the series when you joined, which was not your decision, as well as thoughts of not including the Freedom Fighters in the Archie reboot, again, not your idea. How do you think the series would have gone if some of these had come true in these scenarios?
That's really hard to say. Pre-reboot, I cut my teeth on professional writing by building off of the continuity that had come before. Now, I was adding to it, but I was also taking its narrative cues. So had I been thrown into the deep end and you just had to conjure Sonic anew, number one, that would have been heartbreaking because this is my dream job. I'm getting to contribute to the Archie lore. Yay! What do you mean it's now not the Archie lore? Panic. So I guess it would have been something similar to what IDW is now. I mean, we would have gone closer to the game material because that's what we would have, and we wouldn't have had access to earlier stuff if we couldn't access it. We might have had the Freedom Fighters and, Adventures of stuff grandfathered in. Mm-hmm. Hard to say. I had the original reboot concept gone through way back. I don't know what tools we would have had to use. So I don't know. That's a scary thought. I'm glad that didn't happen. I mean, yeah, the reboot hurts. There is still some kind of gaping hole in my heart where that used to be, but
yeah,
I'm still thankful for the time that we had. So as for Freedom Fighters cut in the reboot, still don't like that idea.
No,
I mean, it would have gone beyond that. It probably would have been all SatAM elements and all Adventures of stuff. So, no Chun-Nan style Dulcie, no Breezy, none of that, which
no, thank you.
Unpleasant.
Do not want.
That definitely would have been more akin to what IDW is now, though. That would have because we were already going very game inspired with the reboot. So had we lost access to the old cartoon material, it probably would have been just straight up that, and kind of picked up the ball with whatever the current game was and just run with it.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Lost World, maybe.
Oh man, what a springboard that would have been.
Was it Lost World? Might have been. I don't think Forces was out yet.
No, this is well before Forces.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was before Lost World.
It might have been. Might have been around the same time.
I mean, Unleashed had been out for a bit.
It was definitely after Generations, and
it was after Colors, because that got referenced in the crossover.
Yeah.
Was Colors the latest one?
I don't remember. What year did the reboot happen? 2013. So 2013 would have been, that was the year of, that was Lost World.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, given how things were handled at the time, we probably couldn't touch Lost World.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what we would have done.
Happy birthday, Sonic!
I mean, more game-centric lore without any of the characters that comic fans were familiar with, unable to touch material of the latest game. I'm giving myself a headache just thinking about it. No, I'm there's a lot of things that, you can look back and say, I wish it was, but if the shiny demon appeared in the center of the road and said, you can wish to change one thing, but I will change this instead. It's like, no, it's fine. We'll just stay the course.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I don't think I like that. I think the only way you could have really made it work probably is gone back to classic again. Just start from the beginning. That's... Nah, there's probably other ways you could have done it too, but I don't know, man. I don't know. What I do know
the main takeaway from this, kids, is it can always be worse.
That's one way to look at it. And we got this question here from Axis. In the BumbleKast episode on March 20th, 2022, you mentioned that there is internal stuff stating that Blaze is romantically interested in Sonic and that it was hinted at the end of Sonic Rush. Could you give more details about this? Any details, no matter how small, would be greatly appreciated.
Nope.
You just don't want to wade into the shipping discussion, huh?
I can't comment.
Or there aren't any comments. Well, I guess you can't because, you work for Sega. Or, don't want to sour their relationship. Okay, fine. Sorry, Axis. You tried.
Probably shouldn't have said as much as I did, so nope.
Whoops. Here's a question from Batman69 LOL. Why do all the comic versions of Charmy the Bee always have such unfortunate lives? In Fleetway, all his friends hate him. In Archie, his best friend is dying, his kingdom is being destroyed, and the brain damage, and then his caretaker/former fiance being erased from existence. And then in IDW, he causes the zombification of his friend and the downfall of the Resistance base safe zone. What did he do to deserve all this?
Now, come on. In IDW, he was heroic. A little stupid, but he's a kid. He tried to do what was right, and he fell prey to the virus, which hit everybody.
Yeah.
And they had Charmy contained at Resistance HQ, Restoration HQ, at the building. It was that guy who managed to smuggle himself in amongst the refugees who was sick that really caused the initial panic. That wasn't Charmy's doing. He contributed once he was free, but he was contained. That's not on him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I don't know. He's the obnoxious little kid that everyone wants to crap on, including the universe, apparently.
Or Charmy. Charmy knows what he did.
Look, Charmy's had his occasional W. I mean, he got to beat the crap out of Eggman in Sonic Heroes. Even Sonic has gotten to do that. Come on now.
True. Here's a question from Bushmitten. I love Archie's Cosmo series, and I'm crossing my fingers it'll continue. But if it does, would you please consider dropping the bit about Cosmo getting a headache before he gets a cosmic vision? I guess I just don't like reading about characters getting headaches due to the power of suggestion.
Interesting.
Strange request.
Well, I mean, the whole point of having the headache was so that the cosmic vision wasn't just a gimme, that there was some cost to it. But, if we ever return to the series, something to consider. Maybe he gets eye strain. Maybe he gets dizzy. Maybe he, barfs glitter. I don't know. They're crazy Martian aliens. We can think of something.
Maybe he gets a real bad bout of diarrhea.
No. We're not doing glitter for that either.
Why not?
No. Nope.
Here's a question from Chaos Sonic 1. What exactly are the Chaos Rings in Knuckles Chaotix? And while they are their classics or non-canon, I just want to know what they are. Same goes with the Dark Ring.
I don't know what the Chaos Rings are, man. They are shrouded in mystery, and they have some connection to the Chaos Emeralds, maybe, but and they may have already been lost to time with however Chaotix ends, ? So we may never know. The Dark Rings, as far as I remember, were Eggman's knockoffs of the Chaos Rings. His attempts to recreate their power to fuel his badniks and give Metal Sonic Kai that oomph for the final boss fight. And that should have been destroyed by the end of the game, I'm pretty sure.
Well, supposedly, according to the Japanese Chaotix manual, the Chaos Rings were created from crystallized Master Emerald energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which, we'll see if that sticks in the long run.
Well, you know what? At least Knuckles Chaotix is back in play as far as canon goes, and that's really all that matters. Maybe now they'll actually re-release it.
Sure.
Ian, stop with this nonsense of beating down my hopes and dreams. I do that enough to my own hopes and dreams as it is. I don't need you to...
It's like so much fun. I want to join in.
I don't need you to contribute. I don't need your help.
Fine. Keep it to yourself.
Oh.
Greedy.
Okay. Here's a question from Conga. Bit louder for the people in the back. What places do we direct our requests, such as to ask for a cast of characters to return to Sega and or IDW for the comics? Can be emails, social media accounts, or specific numbers. Like what? Phone numbers? Like
I ain't handing out office phone numbers. Are you crazy?
No, please do not call the Sega support line and talk to them for like half an hour about what characters you want to see come back to the comics. Don't do that. That's not what they're there for.
But with IDW, right into the letters page, they have that information at the end of every issue.
Yes.
I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's there. Likewise, they have their email listed if you don't want to waste an envelope. As for Sega, go through their social media channel, which is at Sonic_Hedgehog, I believe.
Yes.
I followed it for so long, I don't even remember what the actual handle is. But yeah, comment to them directly. And if they have options to contact them more directly, which, they may tweet out, go through that. I don't know if the Facebook page is still active because I don't really use Facebook anymore. I don't know how interactive the Instagram is because I don't really use Instagram. I'm kind of a social media Luddite, but yeah, those are the two that I am aware of are the fastest and easiest avenues to go through.
Hello, 911. I demand Sally Acorn return to the Sonic comics. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Here's a question from Black Doom. Oh, wait. No, I can't read this one. It's got to be you, Ian.
All right. Me.
Lord Flynn, new architect of reality, I beg your insight. Please tell me my heir is happy, healthy, and socializing this chaos giving. I don't want him to spend even your pathetic human holidays alone. He's part hive child. The boy has social needs.
Wow. Amazing. Our first voice question. Incredible. Thank you, Black Doom, for sending that in. Anyway, Ian, what's your what do you think?
I think he's a bit of a Scrooge, a bit of a bah-hum hedgehog.
Oh, who? Shadow? Yeah,
Hmm.
that's normal.
Hum hog? Hedgebug.
Something like that.
All I know is that if the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future each appeared, he'd try to fight them. But he's fine. I mean, he's the ultimate life form. He's going to be healthy. He's happy in his own way. And he's doing what he likes best, whatever that may be.
Well, listening to Taylor Swift while eating ground coffee grounds right out of the can. We know that. What else? Oh, this is there seems to be some confusion that Black Doom is asking about not Shadow but Eclipse. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Shadow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shadow.
Yeah.
Eclipse don't exist no more.
Yeah, well.
Besides, Eclipse was created by Black Dirge. Come on now. Let's get our continuity straight.
Black Dirge?
It's Black Dirge.
Is that what you called him? I don't remember that.
It was a Black Death.
Black Death.
Come on now. Let's get our continuity straight.
That's right, Ian. How dare you?
Well, he's also gone, okay? I don't really have to keep up with this.
How dare you claim to be an expert in Sonic the Hedgehog and not know this very specific bit of lore that you haven't had to think about in, I don't know, nearly a decade?
I wanted to call him Black Dirge. They wouldn't let me.
Oh, well. There's an interesting factoid to add to the Sonic Wiki, folks. Here's one from Endabend. To what extent were the Freedom Fighters present during the events of Sonic Adventure 2 in the post-reboot universe? While I know it was briefly mentioned by Bunny and Antoine that they were in Station Square during Perfect Chaos's rampage, I don't remember any of the Freedom Fighters ever making references to the events of SA2. Did they get the chance to board the Ark, or were they stuck dealing with Gun after Sonic and Tails became wanted felons?
I don't remember if we had that fully planned out. Like, if we would ever have gotten the chance to go back and fill in all those stories. I want to say with SA2, we would have been largely faithful to the game and have the Freedom Fighters not necessarily involved. Because that game's already pretty big in terms of cast and scope and complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Sonic Adventure, it might have been something along the lines of thinking that Bunny and Antoine were just in the city during the Perfect Chaos event. You know, they wouldn't necessarily have had major roles in an adaptation, but I'm honestly not sure. I don't remember.
Well, maybe someday the Lost Hedgehog Tales will provide the answer. But then again, maybe not.
Who knows what's lurking in my notes? I wanted to do what? Why? No!
Oh boy, I'm not going to put this out there. I
can't prove I thought that.
I have to wonder if you're going to go back into your notes and be like, maybe I shouldn't put this in there. maybe this was a bad idea. The power of hindsight.
Well, that's the beauty of presenting it well after the fact, is I can put in a side note saying, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking back then. It's a good thing this got cut.
Well, I figured you just wouldn't put it in there at all, just to be like, nope, nothing here.
I'm too stupid and transparent to be duplicitous like that.
Well. Here's a question from Exadel. If given the opportunity, how would you plot a general premise for a comic crossover with IDW Sonic and the Owl House?
Luz is trying to put together a door back to the human realm. Something doesn't go quite right with its construction, and it goes back to a human realm, which is one that happens to contain hedgehogs and echidnae and what have you.
Well, I mean, the human realm normally would have those things, wouldn't it?
You know what I mean, the talking Sonic kind.
Just giving you guff.
And then, you really? My cup runneth over with guff.
Yeah, I know. You're welcome. Glad I could help keep it full.
And Eggman, of course, would learn of this and of the demon realm and want to use whatever horrible things, magical things within to his own ends. And Chaos Emeralds would be involved somehow. What fun tinkerage do they do? Like, either they go to the demon realm and get like crazy magical power-ups just by the nature of the realm, or they go inert. Maybe that's the whole thing. Eggman figures it's a whole realm of magical energy. Chaos Emeralds have got to react to that. They're all trying to stop Eggman from smuggling the Chaos Emeralds into the demon realm and becoming all powerful. And oopsie doodles, they just go inert. They're just stones. They're just random knickknacks in the demon realm. They have no special properties. They're only special within the human realm.
I know nothing about the Owl House. I haven't watched it yet. It's another one of those things that's
delightful.
On the list, you know?
Yeah.
As always.
Running subplot of King being insulted that there's no Metal King. You know, Metal Sonic looks so cool. He should have a Metal King. Why is there not a Metal King? Hey, Eggman, look at me. I'm so cool. Give me a Metal King. You do realize it would be built to kill you. Yeah, but it would look so cool at the time.
Mm-hmm. If we're going to go out in style by getting killed by a robot clone of you. Here's a question from Fang. If Shadow or Silver had a werehog form, how would they react and how would it affect their abilities and what did they look like?
Shadow, I don't think would care, really. He would just take on this new form and humph about it. He would look freaking boss as a werehog, though. Ain't gonna lie.
Nah, yeah, he would.
Like, that little white chest poof becoming this big old, like, mane type of thing. Like, the jaggy stripes going through the big old shaggy spines. Nah, he'd look better as werehog than Sonic did, let's be honest. And as for what he could do, like, Sonic loses his speed, but gains almost comparable strength if we're ignoring the gameplay comparisons, because, I mean, Boost Sonic can bust through egg fighters that werehog Sonic has to punch 100 times, but yeah, let's not get hung up on that detail. Maybe he's got, like, straight up easy access to his chaos powers, and he's got, like, chaos fiery swipey claws. Maybe do a deep dig at Altered Beast and have him do like the flaming kick that the one werewolf form has.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Silver, I figure, would get a bit hung up on it and he'd look a little goofy. I mean, he's already got a lot of hair. Werehog adds a whole lot more. Maybe there's a way to render his cockatiel head poof in a way that doesn't look ridiculous, but I can't think of it.
Silver just looks kind of goofy in general, so, makes sense.
It'd be funny if he lost his TK powers. And, sure, he has stretchy arms now, but that's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to reach to pick up stuff. He would just reach with his mind, not with his hand. This is no good. Or he doesn't have, like, the same kind of TK powers, but it's more like extensions of the feral form. It's like big old TK claw slashes and all the light and particle effects werehog had, except they're now TK powers because that's easy enough to do. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know, man. So weird.
If he, like, eventually relearns how to tap into his TK powers, then he gets that little short range teleport.
Yeah.
So you have this horrible Yeti wolf hedgehog thing just blipping in and out of existence as it closes the gap between you and it. That's spooky.
And here he comes. Oh, Lord, he coming. Watch out.
Once he got used to it, though, he'd go into it hardcore. He would live the moment. He would be doing the whole Howl at the Moon thing and Thriller dancing and enjoy the moment. It'd take him a bit to come around, but once he did, he'd have fun with it.
Yeah. That would be fun. All right, and we got one last question before we take a break, and it's from Dove. Okay, guys, I've checked the master list, and I don't see this in there, so here goes. Mecha/Metal Sonic fight. Every version of the Robot Sonics in a brawl. Who comes out on top?
I could have sworn we did this one.
I thought so too, but apparently not.
But it's Dove, and I trust Dove, so maybe it's worded in a way that it's hard to find. I don't know. Anyway. like Model 1? No.
Now.
It ain't gonna last that long. I mean, it's got some heft to it, but it's slow. It's big and it's slow. Metal Sonic's gonna tear that thing to shreds. Mecha 2.0, that would be a fight worth seeing between that and Metal.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, I see Metal Sonic coming out on top. Mecha 3, we haven't seen what Mecha 3 does. We saw it in a tube once. We have no idea what it can do. So, assuming that it is continuing to upgrade in terms of power and sticking with the other mechas in terms of it is larger and slower, but I guess stronger, maybe it would give Metal Sonic a bit of a run for his money. But in the end, I still see Metal Sonic coming out on top. Because the only thing that can top Metal Sonic is Sonic. Which I know applies to the mechas. That's not what I mean.
Yeah, but Metal Sonic has both cool points and the audience support, because I mean nobody's a fan of Mecha Sonics. They all want metal. They want metal. They all want metal.
Mecha 2.0 is really freaking cool.
Mecha 2.0 is cool. Yes, that's true.
Come on.
That's true. But
like, you've seen what Sonic can do to those, and we know Metal Sonic can do what Sonic can do. Ergo, he can do that and more. So
yes,
I see him coming out on top.
Yeah. What if we go into like the side stuff, like Mecha Sonic as roboticized Sonic from Mecha Madness? That is Sonic, so he might have to surpass. He might have to surpass Metal.
He also has the range with those laser blasters too.
Yeah.
But regular Metal Sonic does have the shields that he could employ.
True.
Oh, but that would be very fast paced, and there would be lots of Dragon Ball Z Zui fighting and collateral damage. Ooh, that would be a fun fight.
It helps that design is freaking awesome, though.
Well, yeah, come on.
The spaz roboticized Sonic design. Yeah, I mean, legendary. I mean, you already did Metal versus Shard, so
yeah,
we know how that would go.
Yeah.
I don't know about any others, but hey, you know what? That's a good opportunity for you to leave your thoughts down in the comments, and then let us know. In the meantime, though, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with more BumbleKast. We're back with a question from James to Mr. Flynn Man. In a recent BumbleKast this year, you were asked about the scrapped Archie Mario comic, and it got me thinking, if the Archie Mario comic had come to be, what would a crossover between him and the two best blue boys, referring to Mega Man and Sonic, have looked like if Capcom, Sega, and Nintendo allowed such a thing to transpire?
That was going to be Worlds at War. At the end of Worlds Unite, there was a dedicated effort to show off the world of Nexus. Styx, I think, hints at it at the very, very end. Because Paul Kaminsky, editor at the time, was dead set on aggressively pursuing Nintendo for the third crossover to get it to happen. So we put Nexus in there at the end just to have like a battle planet setting that we would be able to dump all the characters on real quick and just get to the crossover goodness.
Oh, okay, so it's just Secret Wars.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't read too much into this. It's not like there was anyone talking to anyone. There were no contracts signed. There was no actual pitch. This was just like the early talks that we were having and the dreams of what if. But the thinking was that, Sonic and Mega Man know each other at this point. So they would facilitate the story moving forward quickly. Mario and his cast would be the odd ones out. They would be the viewers, the new reader's vehicle into understanding what the crossover stuff was. They would ask the questions. Sonic and Mega Man would know the answers. Easy enough storytelling device. And it's the same thing as with Worlds Collide. You got to see the heroes duke it out because you want to see that happen. And then you would have the bad guys team up because you want to see that happen. And then you'd see the heroes beat up the bad guys because it wouldn't be rocket science. It would be nothing particularly new. It would just be, look at all the fun stuff. Now, this is me saying this so many years later, but I think we would have taken the lesson from Worlds Unite and tried to focus a bit better, not try to represent everything all at once. Dial things back closer to what it was like in Worlds Collide. Have the marquee characters, give everyone their due, but keep it simple, keep it fun, keep it, fast paced. But we never got to that point. Like there was, as far as I know, there was never a pitch to Nintendo for this kind of crossover. I think Paul left for DC Comics shortly after World Unite wrapped up, and
yeah,
I think the idea kind of left with him. But there was, for I don't know, a month, the idea for that crossover.
Yeah. Oh, another what could have been, Would Mario have gone super? Wait, hold on. He already
Super Mario.
Too many supers. I don't think it would work. Here's a question from Johnny B. Good. I have a spooky Halloween question that will be frighteningly late for Halloween when you read it. Guess what? You were right. What do you think King Boom Boo was like when he was alive? I'm assuming he had a life, unless Sonic Boos are like the Mario Boos, in which they're ghosts that might not ever have been living people. They're like just a race. They just are.
That is a good question, because we don't really know a lot about the Sonic ghosts. I mean, La was alive at one point, but that's the only one we've really seen. Well, I guess Tikal, but Tikal isn't really represented as a ghost in the same sense as La or King Boom Boo.
She's more
of a spirit.
She's more like a force ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing from a certain point of view. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of King Boom Boo just being this presence, that he's a ghost that got big because, I don't know, maybe he ate other ghosts or something. On the other hand, now I'm imagining some like big tubby guy designed by Gurihuri with the same kind of like giant flapping face, just laughing at everything. And then he died to become a ghost, and he's just bigger and more awful version of his living self. I don't
know. I think it's kind of interesting, though. I kind of wonder if they're like a species of ghost species, not like they're formerly living creatures that have become dead.
Yeah. Are they all the same? Like, are the Boos the same as the Hydruo, which are the same as the Jack-O-Lantern ghosts, which are the same as that weird skeletal monster thingy in that one stage? Like, I don't know.
I don't know either, but it could be interesting. Or maybe they're wisps. No, they're not wisps.
No.
Cube! Rocket! Death!
No. Here's a question from Jolene B. I feel like Shadow, Silver, and Blaze make for a neat thematic trio. Shadow comes from the past, Silver comes from the future, and Blaze comes from another dimension. With that in mind, what do you think their team dynamic would be like?
Well, if you can get Shadow to stick around to do a team thingy,
kind of have to trick him into doing it.
Circumstances force it. I see him and Blaze working well enough together. I think they have a similar degree of pragmatism, and if the threat is present enough, they would have the wherewithal to work together towards dismantling it. And I think Blaze is diplomatic enough to realize that Shadow needs to be handled, so she can't ask for his help. She can't imply that he can't do it on his own, but she can find a way to word it that it would facilitate his mission if they all worked together.
Yes.
Likewise, I see her still as kind of a mentor role to Silver. She still is the voice of reason and support to him. He doesn't need it as much as 06 maybe, but he still counts on her insights. He trusts her a lot. So I guess she's kind of the core to this trio.
Yeah.
And Silver wants to be friends. He wants everyone to get along. He wants everyone to be superhero buddies to save the world, and Shadow does not. He does not. And that's where you get your adorable friction from.
Shadow just not feeling this at all. Just does not cotton onto this guy at all. This freaking Silver guy.
Let's go save the world. Keep it on a leash, please. That wasn't very nice. I said, please.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah. I mean, would this really fall into the speed, power, flying types? I don't know. It's kind of like it's
hard to say.
They can all kind of do all three.
Yeah.
This is like the ultimate
so
team.
In that regard, yes. All three of them are each the team.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is like the ultimate overpowered team right here. This is like the curb stomp team. This is the team that they send in if they just want to just leave nothing behind. It's just over. I mean, Blaze on her own is already extremely overpowered. And so is Silver. You throw Shadow in there too? Yeah. Definitely not the team you want to mess with. Here's a question from Jube. In any long-running franchise, there's always a degree of repetition in place of character advancement. For example, we all want to see Spider-Man grow up and tackle more mature storylines, but we're constantly regressing to him being in high school or being reintroduced to his rogues gallery, sometimes due to a new continuity or new creative stepping in. Similarly, Tails constantly has to go through the arc of overcoming his cowardice or stepping out of Sonic's shadow. I know that's not always the case, and for what it's worth, personally, I'd like seeing Tails overcome the sidekick mentality, as it feels integral to his development. I understand there are spin-offs and other continuities, but as far as the main story of Sonic goes, how do you think the balance should be between retreading common character beats and maintaining already established character arcs, especially in an indefinitely long-running series?
That's the trick, isn't it? And I don't know if I have the right answer. It is definitely a discussion I have had multiple times with multiple parties on multiple projects, and there is no perfect solution.
Mm-hmm.
In Sonic's case, it's a lot of the reason why you see so many stories of Sonic meets new friend has the character arc, new friend exits stage left. Because there's the arc, there's the narrative, and Sonic is facilitating it.
Yeah.
To a degree, that's pretty much how IDW started. You know, here's the threat. Here's the characters reacting to the threat, dealing with the threat. Threat is resolved. Isn't really a lot of a character arc for anybody in there. You could argue there's a little bit of one of Tangle and Whisper as they're introduced to the group and then kind of joining in the group, but I'd argue that their arc happens more in their own miniseries and into Metal Virus. And it's still kind of growing in its own way. And Metal Virus is, again, threat is introduced, characters react to threat, characters resolve threat, we're done. And it's more about how the characters deal with the scenario. You don't have a character arc so much as a plot progression. And that can work if the plot itself is engaging enough and the character interactions are satisfying. You'll come away going, okay, that was a fun read, and be okay with that. Not everyone will be satisfied with that, and they will want more. So again, I don't have a perfect solution.
Yeah, it's tough. I will definitely agree on that one. If there were a solution, a good solution to all of it for everything, I think we would have already figured it out. Like in the case of Spider-Man, it's just everyone's got their own different ideas of what Spider-Man should be, what he is. The same thing for Sonic, really. So, and we got a question here from Keydrian. I love the character arcs being set up through Frontiers, especially for Knuckles, and I must ask, Is there anything on the horizon game-rise for Shadow to be excited for? I adore the writing of him having Maria's wish as a motivation for good in the comics, and seeing how the characters are brought to life in Frontiers only makes me more excited for Shadow and how it'll integrate into the rest of this. Thanks for your time.
I cannot talk about any future plans by Sega.
Alrighty. Well, hey, that's a good thing to remind the people of. And, hey, you know what? It's time to jump into the Frontiers spoiler zone. So, big warning.
Uh-oh.
Huh?
Uh-oh.
Big warning. Big warning. Throwing up the flashing lights. Look at these lights. These lights are the warning that Frontiers spoilers are coming. So if you have not played Sonic Frontiers and you don't want to be spoiled on what's happening in Sonic Frontiers, you may want to just turn off the show and move on. We'll see you next time. But if you're sticking around, then hey, here we go. We got this question here from Andrew D. So if the IDW comics are now canon to the games, does that mean that all the Sega-published comics are also now canon to the IDW comics? Also, when would Sonic Frontiers have happened in relation to the IDW comics?
I'm treating them as, like, the Sonic Frontiers prequels are obviously part of Force's storyline, and Forces comes before the first arc of IDW, so sure, that would all fit. The Japanese social media stories I'm treating as part of the same universe. That's why in the 2020 and 2022 annual, when the Robot Pirate says Blaze is one, it's directly referencing that. Like, because in the social media stories, one of the parts is showing that Captain Whisker is a disembodied or a headless zombie robot thing, which is hardcore. It's not super accessible, but hopefully there will be remedies to that one day. Beyond that, like the little individual character strips that they did, those are fairly innocuous, so I'd imagine so, but they're more like, I feel like they're more like advertisements than actual stories. But that's the straw I'm clinging to say that Styx is modern Sonic now, and I will cling to that straw until I've been dragged to the bottom of the ocean.
Cling. I will cling to it.
As for where everything fits together, don't worry about that right now. It's like I said earlier, I'm not arguing against its canonicity, because you don't have to have read IDW for Sonic Frontiers to work. You don't have to play Sonic Frontiers to understand IDW Sonic. So for now, just be content with that.
All right. Here's one from OzJam. With the recent release of Frontiers, I noticed in certain groups that they have an issue with how a certain character is handled, Amy. A group has mentioned that they find her not as spunky, or rather Genki, as she was in the past, and also that her dynamic with Sonic, while nice and serious, doesn't have that playfulness that he does with Tails and Knuckles in the game. My question regarding this is, while I personally feel that Amy is handled rather well in today's stories of Sonic, do you think that early characterization that Amy had is what is missing from her? Or do you think what we have now is better? I know these characters are always changing due to trends and reception, so consistency, while nice, can be difficult to have when you handle unique mascots like these.
Well, in Frontiers in particular, number one, the direction for the writing was to be generally a little more somber and low-key. And in her case, particularly, this was the very beginning of the story, where the mystery was its thickest, and Sonic is unsure of what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on. They don't know what the Coco are. They don't know what these visions are. They don't know if she's going to get better. There's a lot of heavy, somber stuff weighing on their heads. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for her to be especially peppy or quirky. Genki, if you will. But as the story goes on, Sonic is more familiar with his circumstances, and the player is as well, and therefore the tone needs to somewhat reflect that and lighten a little bit up as it goes along. So I think the criticism is not necessarily wrong, but it can't be taken in a vacuum.
Right.
It's within the context of that story segment in Frontiers that she's a bit restrained. Had she been on the third island, I think things would have played out a little differently.
Yeah, Amy's part of the story feels like you kind of have to... She's doing a lot of heavy lifting. that whole part, because, there's still a lot of mystery surrounding what's going on. And you know what? I have to kind of applaud Sega, because there was a lot of discourse, of course, going on before the game came out. Like, what the heck is even this game about? Like, what's the storyline? What's even anything? And people were just confused and lost and didn't know. And, but I kind of appreciate that they stuck to that in the marketing and stuff. Like, they didn't really tip their hand too much, I feel like.
No.
Which was rather impressive, It's a bit of a different thing for Sonic. It's like, it was a little rocky at first, but eventually I think it came around and was kind of like more of a good mystery, Like, what the heck is going on here? So, yeah, I like that. Here's a question from Definitely Not a Worm. Hey, Ian, first-time asker here. As a fellow writer, it's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world to be able to use an old or shelved idea on a new project. So what was the oldest idea you were able to use in either IDW or Frontiers? So this may not be a Frontier spoiler question, but just in case.
Just in case. Maybe Metal Virus? I mean, I wouldn't have called it a super old idea. It was plans for where we were going with the Archie book, and then that got snafu'd and we moved on to IDW. So that's like a 2-3 year waiting period, maybe. But I can't really think of anything that I really wanted to do and couldn't, and then really got to trot it out again, at least not recently. Like the Death Egg being the Egg Dome in Archie Sonic, and hidden in plain sight until it launched into the new Death Egg. That was something I'd want to do a long time, and we got sidetracked because I had to do frickin' Monkey Con. That was not intended, but and in Frontiers, I was just happy to write the freaking game, man. Like, I didn't try. I wasn't going to push the envelope too far. It's like, yes, let me push all the agendas.
Don't say that. People already think you're pushing agendas right now.
I mean, with Frontiers, I wanted to, just have a sense of continuity between the games and have each character feel like they reached some new personal milestone and stepped out of Sonic's shadow. And we achieved that, and I'm content.
Alrighty. Here's one from Happy Times. Would Thunderbolt, Starline, and Stone put aside their rivalries as top Eggman fanatics and team up to get rid of the newcomer stealing all of Eggman's attention, Sage, out of jealousy? And if yes, how does it go?
Oh, no. They're going to fight tooth and nail for favor of their new queen.
I was going to say, no. Yeah, Sage is like, yeah.
Like, the Thunderbolt, she's royalty.
Yeah.
She is the next generation of Eggman. Oh, praise be. And if something should happen to Eggman, let us never even think of that or speak of it again. This would be the next one to take the crown. And she's already driven by electricity. It's almost like they're related. No, Thunderbolt would be 100% simping for Sage. Stone, it's a little hard to reconcile movie Stone with game Eggman.
Yeah.
That's the first big hurdle for me. But she's still a creation of Eggman. And Stone is always impressed by what Eggman can create. So he would at least be appreciative of what she is, the genius behind her creation.
Mm-hmm.
And Starline would appreciate how analytical Sage is. Finally, somebody who sits down and looks at his blueprints and analyzes them down to the nanometer and gives him actual critical feedback. Not, it needs more balloons and roller coasters. That doesn't help with the plan. Yes, it's a lovely theme park, sir, but that doesn't. Although he might be a little, pouty when Sage points out he did his math wrong somewhere, but she pointed it out. She saw the math. Okay, there's no placement of egg pawns to deliver flammable cotton candy. She pointed out the practical flaws, and he can appreciate that.
Okay, good. He's not too uppity about her then. Kind of worried, Maybe he will take her to McDonald's. Just as long as he doesn't also take Surge and Kit at the same time. No, don't do that. We do not need to take Eggman's kid and his kids to the fast food joint all at the same time, to Medburger. Don't do that. And we got one last question here from Hero of Light 13. Can all those combat abilities and moves still be in Sonic's moveset going forward into later sequels or other media? Or is it just, no, it's all from cyberspace, and he lost access to all of that, so it's back to spinning, jumping, and boosting now? If it's the latter, boo!
That's up to Sega. I don't know what their plans are beyond, what we have. I would assume that it's all cyberspace related, especially the points where, I don't want to be too spoilery here, but where the game progression says, here, you have done this interaction with cyberspace, you get this new power because of that. I mean, come on, that's built in. They say it's a cyberspace ability.
Yeah.
So
I still would like to see at least some carryover, because, it's cool to have Sonic with more moves than just, he jumps, and he spins.
Maybe something comparable.
And he goes fast. It's like, yes, that's great, but also maybe put some more depth into it. Yeah. Oh, well.
That's going to wrap us up for this edition of the BumbleKast. But before we go, we need to give a big thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., James K., Jennifer R., John B., Robotnik Home, Sam Cybercat, Samuel P., Torchbound, Mike B., Dave M., Andrew D., Saluch Cat, Coupling Crew 128, J. Frost, Do As Diz Den, Hero of Light 13, Professor Scruffy Matt, Noni, Chris A., Sonic, Triforce Riku, John M., Jib, Yami M., Fiona M., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Ben Wolfsbane, Sonic, Chevelle, Scurvy Pirate Hog, Keeper of Monsters, Axis, Arc Fighter, Xander Only the Painter, Tick Tick, Jonathan D., The Name is X, Nimric, Godzilla, Nondal, Quaggle Gaggle, Starlight Sec, Cameron H., Justin S., Twilord, Ava Arctic, Dove, Alex G.S., Just a Mountain Soul, Daddler the Dalek, Sonic Legacy, Chaos Sonic 1, Pedantic Cat the Discan, Red the Supernamic, Les, Jennifer H., Chad, Jolene B., Alphamon Oryukin, Ink Thinks, Joshua S., Omega Watt, Dapper Shinks, Of the Stars, Preston M., Noah S., and Tails, Sonic 84, Kojiro Highwind, Awesome Cakester, Supersonic Fan, Derucival, Radry, Yuma221, Chase L., Callum Q., KJB, Red Wolf, Wild 48, Chaos Shadow, Miles the Prower, Navarre, Exidel, Agent Kaz, For Sonic Fan, Rhythm Raccoon, Puppy the Scholar, Pigdan 20, In Zephyr, The Marble Gardener, Mox, Miggy Sawdust, ONBD, Temista James, Indabend, Oz Jam, Shimmy M, Curly Quills, Angela V, Vlad Crooker, Wildcard 717, Z Broadcast, IPC, Smiley 21, Sammy S, Bushmitten, Michael P, Sterling Sonic, Jack C, Wheelie Doe, Sandra BH, Congo, Rocketman, Windskull, Supernova, Superior Pizza, Sonic Padge, Delta God 77, Thigolf, Philip is Cold, The Crucified Devil, Loop D Loop, Omega Man 21, Lacey M, Dominic Raccoon, Planet Breezy, Caswell, Mr. Murderbird, The Giant Murdering Bird, Unity, Key Drain, Lori L, Native Nerd 27, Jason G, Cody G, Lucky Lychee, Is It Time If She Only Knew, Tetsu Knife, Ultra Guy, Levi C, Crowbo, Nils, Sonic Mania 2099, Hadronis, Noob 600, Salato 02, Paley, Bug Party, Guts, Black Doom, Definitely Not a Worm, Way Past Ordinary, The Cartoonist, Danny the Light, True Cosmic Digilab 79, Zapon Sirion, right? Sirion? Yeah. Zapon Sirion, Cardio, Ryuko Shino, Sonicbot, El Technopada, Buttered Noodles, Miles Prower D, Frost the Hobbidon, Metamode, Wheels 2882, Hedgehog, and Jamal S.
It never ends, Ian. The list never ends, except it does, but, still. Also, thank you, a special shout out to Mr. Murderbird, the Giant Murdering Bird, which is the best name, I think, ever.
It's a good one. I do enjoy it. So that's it. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast. BumbleKast for Monday the 5th? Really?
December 5th,
Monday
even.
5th. Shut your face. Okay. The next major update to Genshin is mid next week. So, looking forward to that. They're adding a card game, Kyle.
A card game? On motorcycles? I hope so.
No, sadly, there's no motorcycles.
They're not putting motorcycles in Genshin. They put motorcycles in Zelda. Why not? If they're going to just rip off Zelda, they might as well put motorcycles in there.
Kyle, a running gag in the game is that one of the characters is the head of the Royal Cavalry, and they don't have horses in the game.
Hey, you know?
Like, they don't really come out and say it, but there has been more than one interaction where it's like, yeah, that'd be as crazy as a cavalry without horses. It's like, you know.
Did you write this?
No, it's got a better vocabulary than I do.
No, you didn't.
It's not often you run into a game where they trot out a word and I'm like, hold on, I need to get a dictionary. What does that mean?
You didn't write it. There weren't enough references to 30-year-old Genshin Impact material.
Yeah, because that deep 30-year lore for a 3-year-old game.
Don't get a big ego about it. Don't get an inflated sense of self. I know you. I know how you are.
No. The whole cult of personality is like Plan D. That's when everything else falls apart.
It's just kind of happening. You didn't ask for this.
What? I'm not partaking either.
No, luckily not.
But, you know, if worse comes to worse, I know I can always get a cheap farmland and have a few dedicated people to keep me company. Hope y'all like Kool-Aid.
Just wear these robes. It's fine.
I mean, I never outright claimed to not be the new son of God.
Hey, man. If we can ever set up the Bumble compound, we should go for it. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Apparently that's the new discourse now, is that you made references to old games. So,
yep.
Yay.
Yep. It's totally like Family Guy, and they're not well placed at all. And yeah, whatever.
Yep. This is why we can't have nice things. And also, you destroyed Christmas. That's right. You ruined Christmas.
Oh, did I? Okay.
You made Christmas non-canon. Christmas Island specifically. Oh. It was all your doing.
Me. Specifically. I also made the comics canon because I have that authority. Even though I've made a point of not actually saying those words out loud, you know. You can lead a horse to water, Kyle, but you can't drown it.
Well, I think in this case it's just drowning itself repeatedly over and over and then screaming and blaming you for it.